Pascal Siakam has been one of the best players in the NBA this season, and not many people seem to care. He is playing at an all-NBA level currently for the Toronto Raptors, who are under 500, but nonetheless Siakam has been absolutely excellent. And with them being stuck in the middle, he could be a trade candidate this deadline in what would be a huge trade in the NBA. This season, Siakam is averaging 26 points, 9 rebounds, and 7 assists for Toronto. With the Raptors currently sitting at 15 and 18, it doesn't really seem like the Raptors are good enough to really make a deep run in the playoffs this season, and they don't seem bad enough to compete for a top pick. And even if they wanted to do that, they do not have their first round pick this season. And Masai Ujiri, in order to get some of those assets back and possibly get the opportunity to get a good pick in this draft, may look to deal Siakam. Now, I don't think the Raptors hit the panic button and blow it all up, trading Siakam, OG Anunoby, and maybe Fred VanVleet, as well as Gary Trent Jr. at the moment, but if their poor play continues, I could see it being a real option being explored as the trade deadline gets closer. And today we're going to be looking at how Siakam has been so good this season and some potential suitors for the All-NBA forward. As said before, Siakam is averaging 26 points, 9 boards, and 7 assists this season. And looking at his numbers, he's shooting 49% from the field, 34% from 3, which are similar marks to what he was putting up last season. But he's doing that, putting up more points and assists, and he's obviously had to carry this Raptors team on his back in several games this season while maintaining the same level of efficiency he had last season when he did make an All-NBA team. Now, in past seasons, we have known Siakam is a good passer for his size, but this season, he's playmaking and scoring at an even higher volume than ever before, and you can see that reflected in his numbers. And really, I think Siakam for any team would be a great trade candidate, as he is truly one of the best players in the NBA this season. And I think the first team that I could see trading for him is the Golden State Warriors. And when we look at Siakam's skill set, you have a guy who can score, can pass, can hit open threes as well, can play defense, and can play with other stars, as well as someone who has championship experience and is in the prime of his career. I think on the Warriors it would be an interesting fit, but I do think Golden State is one of the teams that would have the assets to actually get this deal done. And as this Golden State Warriors team currently sits 16 and 18 and without Stephen Curry for an extended period of time, they could really use another primary scorer on this team with how inconsistent Klay Thompson is, and obviously Jordan Poole is still growing as a player and as a scorer and may take some time to take on that bigger role. And they could really use another primary guy like Siakam. Siakam also a very unselfish player, good passer. I think he would fit with them well and gives them, an experienced player who can defend as well, and really gives the Golden State Warriors the type of player they would be looking for, I think. But I do not know if they would want to give up and compromise their future assets. They'd probably have to put in Kuminga as well as Moody or Wiseman, at least one of those two, in a bigger contract such as Clay Wiggins or Draymond Green, along with some picks for the 28-year-old Siakam. And I don't know the likeliness of that. I think it could make sense, but I don't know the chances that the Warriors actually do that. Now, another team that could possibly be a trade candidate for Siakam if the Raptors do officially make him available to other NBA teams is the Memphis Grizzlies, the team that the Warriors defeated by a large margin last night without Curry on Christmas Day. And while Ja Morant and Desmond Bane are two great scoring options for the Memphis Grizzlies, they may feel like they need another guy that can really create his own shot. And the thing about Siakam is he brings more as a star than just the ability to create his own shot. As we've said in this video, he can pass the ball well, he can shoot decently, and he can defend, and he does have championship experience. And these are all things that could really help any team, but especially the Memphis Grizzlies, who may just be a Pascal Siakam away from going to the NBA Finals and even winning it. And the third team on this list is a team that has been to the NBA Finals before, the Phoenix Suns. Now the Suns are in a weird spot as they are in year 3 of the Devin Booker and Chris Paul pairing. And they brought back pretty much the same roster that they've had the last 2 years, and it really seemed like their window to go all the way was the year they made the finals and last season where they had a franchise best 61 wins, but were still bounced in the second round to a Luka Doncic led Mavericks team, and they were truly embarrassed in game 7 of the second round of the Western Conference playoffs. And going into this season, there have been some confusions with the state of DeAndre Ayton, as he was a restricted free agent and wanted to sign with the Pacers, but the Suns matched his offer sheet, and he hasn't been that great this year, and his attitude has not been great either, as it kind of seems like he just doesn't really want to be there. And Jay Crowder, they have a pending trade request from him as well. And overall, the team just hasn't played that well this season. They've been decent, but not as good as the past 2 seasons, and they really don't have that superstar or top end talent on their team that some of these other Western contenders do. And if they want to contend for another finals before Chris Paul's window fully closes, as it already is starting to close, but it's not fully closed yet, they are going to need to make a trade for a top guy. And I do question if they'd have all the assets to get a trade done for Siakam, but I do think DeAndre Ayton could particularly interest the Toronto Raptors, who have really been in need of a big man for the last few years, and they have been linked to many big men. They are yet to really make a move for one, but I could see Ayton being appealing to Toronto, a young center who could use a change of scenery, and someone we know has very apparent talent, and he has been good as an NBA player, but I don't think he's fully lived up to that number 1 pick hype he had coming out of Arizona in 2018. And as for the fit in Phoenix, it puts a really good number 2 next to Devin Booker, and they have a nice group of role players to put alongside Siakam, Booker, and Paul who can shoot. Guys such as Cam Johnson, Mikal Bridges, and other guys such as Landry Shamet and Cam Payne. My question is, if the Suns were to approach the Raptors on a trade, would they be able to keep Mikal Bridges in that deal? Someone who's very valuable to them, someone who's a very good three-point shooter, very efficient on the offensive end, and one of the best perimeter defenders in basketball. And I definitely think if a deal were to be struck between the two sides, DeAndre Ayton and multiple picks would be involved. Moving on to the next team on the short list of teams that could move for Siakam, and that is the Dallas Mavericks. Now, I don't think the Mavericks are as likely as these other teams, simply because they don't have the assets to make this move most likely. They may be able to get it done if it was a move of pure desperation, but I don't think they'll reach those levels of desperation. But overall, Luka Doncic is in dire need of a co-star, especially since losing Jalen Brunson and Kristaps Porzingis the prior season. Now, he was better without Porzingis, and really I think Brunson has missed more. And part of what made Brunson such a nice compliment to Luka as a player is that Brunson could play on the ball when Luka's on the bench or just isn't involved in a play, which is rare if he's on the floor, but he can also play off the ball, and I think Siakam can do that as well. Siakam also has the playmaking in his game to be able to find other teammates if he's playing with the second unit while Luka is out of games, as Siakam's assist percentage this season is in the 98th percentile of NBA players, which is terrific, and I do think he would be a really nice compliment to Luka Doncic, and he would also help this Mavericks team on the defensive end. But overall, we're not going to talk about this for too long just because I don't think it's realistic. And overall, Pascal Siakam is someone that if he's traded, I think, it could really shake up the NBA. He could turn a team from a really good team to a bona fide contender, such as the Memphis Grizzlies, or if the Mavericks found a way to get the deal done. And a team like the Suns too, all those teams could be a Pascal Siakam away from becoming a contender. And this season, as we said, he's just been terrific. As a scorer, he can score through all 3 levels, which is really impressive, and his playmaking just continues to improve, and he's a proven defender at the NBA level. He's someone who has championship experience as well and is in his prime, If he's available, he will be the top player on the trade market, and it would be a really interesting story to keep your eyes on. But we will see what the Toronto Raptors and Masai Ujiri do and how the rest of their season pans out, at least before the trade deadline. I thank y'all for watching, and peace out.